A Cape Town professor has designed a course which teaches Columbia University students in New York about apartheid through the life of jazz legend Abdullah Ibrahim. The architecture students are touring Cape Town to see firsthand the world that informed the 89-year-old artist. Now, Ibrahim is scheduled to perform in Cape Town and in Johannesburg in April. Newzroom Afrika's Yazeed Kamaldien has this report.
Architecture students from Columbia University in New York are learning about apartheid and spatial injustice through the life and music of Abdullah Ibrahim. The jazz maestro's songs were part of the anti-apartheid movement. A Cape Town architect and professor designed the course.
I've been listening to Abdullah Ibrahim for a very long time, and for me, his music and each album has been immensely educational to learn about Cape Town and to learn about liberation and to learn about spatial injustice. So when I got the opportunity to work at Columbia University in New York, I thought just to extend that project and to look at New York through the eyes of Abdullah Ibrahim and Dollar Brand through the work that I'm doing with the students. It's important because, you know, Cape Town is obviously a huge part of the life of Abdullah Ibrahim. And we concentrated specifically on one of the documentaries that track his life called The Brother with the Perfect Timing, which was directed by Chris Austin. And in that film, you actually see Abdullah Ibrahim kind of walking the streets of New York and lamenting his home, which is Cape Town. And it's important for students to kind of understand where he was from, where his music was from, and how he took that music everywhere with him as a sound of liberation. So it's a kind of thinking about New York and Cape Town as a kind of a space of, you know, a renewed thinking about liberation and space.
Columbia University students walked through Kalk Bay with a local activist. She told them about how the seaside suburb was classified as a whites-only area during apartheid. She's among a handful of colored families who were allowed to stay in the area because they worked in the fishing industry.
This community that I come from is a very marginalized community. This is 30% of the original community that exists here today. There are less than 200 people here. As before, there were almost 200 families that were living here, all over Kalk Bay, the indigenous people. And one of the reasons that these people were allowed to stay here was because Kalk Bay was the main supplier of fish to the colony, and the British built these houses in the 1940s already. And you know, with any brown communities in Cape Town, there's only so much that governments give communities like this. So there's always been a struggle to exist here and to live here.
Some of the students say Ibrahim's life has inspired them to be more thoughtful when designing spaces.
I feel like what's important is really not just about architecture as a physical thing, but more so about the people who live in the space and the spatial context. Like, listen to people, like Tracy told us about her personal story, and I feel like it's really important for us to understand what's happening and like what is people actually doing instead of just building some beautiful thing. For me, I feel like the story behind is the most important part.
So we're using Ibrahim as a case study just to really drive our architecture intervention. The intervention could be really publication, film, or just really a personal project. And at the studio, we're using many of his music as a way just to transform spaces. And that, I would say, is very conceptual, but very challenging, but yet at the same time very liberating.
For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Yazeed Kamaldien in Cape Town.